Windows 10 end of support? What does that mean? If you're getting emails from Microsoft and little pop-up windows telling you that your machine will reach the end of support on October 14th this year, I'll guide you through what's happening and exactly what you need to do. My name is Jason Bagnell with JB Computers, and I'm here to unravel the mystery and give you a path forward. End of support is nothing new, and it's already happened to all versions of Windows prior to Windows 10. What makes this end of support a little difficult, though, is the large amount of computers that are running Windows 10, and let's say about 40 or 50% of them are so old that they cannot be upgraded to Windows 11 due to the old hardware versus the new hardware requirements that are required. So in the chart here, you can see that 58.7% of all computers running Windows that are online and active right now have Windows 10 installed on them, which is huge. That's over half of them. Even though Windows 11 has been out for many years and it's all you can buy on a brand new computer, Windows 10 still has a large majority market share. So when the deadline date comes around, people will wonder, well, is my computer going to stop working if I keep Windows 10 or I can't upgrade it to 11? The short answer for that is no. So you can keep running Windows 10. It will not receive bug fixes, product updates, and Microsoft also says that they're not going to fix security flaws that might be discovered. Essentially, they're giving up all development and repair on Windows, so it's more of a use at your assumed risk. Kind of like back when Windows 7 had the same thing happen. People loved Windows 7 and never wanted to let it go and just about ignored Windows 8 and 8.1, as you can see on the chart here. And then after end of support, really nothing happened. It kept working. So that being said, let's look at a list of choices that we do have to prepare for the Windows 10 end of support. That'll be here October 14th, 2025. I'll go over the list real quick and then we'll look at each item individually. So item 1 is to just simply do nothing. Just keep using your Windows 10 like nothing happened and life goes on. Item number 2 is to upgrade your computer to Windows 11 if it meets the minimum hardware requirements for Windows 11. It's a free upgrade and it can be kicked off through the Windows Update program inside your Windows 10 operating system. Number 3 is that Microsoft will be offering an extended security update program where you can pay a fee for both home users and businesses, and you can continue beyond that expiration date and your computer will receive bug fixes, patches, security updates, and whatnot. Number 4 is to just buy a new computer that already has Windows 11, and then you can move all your data and everything onto the new machine. And number 5 is to switch to a computer that doesn't even use Windows, such as a MacBook or a Chromebook, or you can play around with a Linux computer or any other machine. Long as Windows isn't on it, you won't have a Windows problem. Now let's dive further into each of these options. I'll keep track of where we're at by keeping it posted right there. And the first option is to do nothing. So the big fear with that one is that hackers and bad guys will find a vulnerability in Windows that they'll exploit and be able to jump right into your computers and access your files. And Microsoft is claiming that they're not going to fix the problem. So that would be kind of scary. Now looking back to Windows 7, it actually didn't happen as far as I know. And I'm surprised that hackers didn't take advantage and exploit that to wreak havoc. But Windows 7 remained pretty calm and nothing horrible seemed to happen after it was at end of service. So of course you do want to protect yourself. Now one thing good to know is that the built-in Windows security program that you already have is claimed to remain active beyond or up to October 2028. And that is actually great news. So you might be familiar with that program. It's already on all Windows 10 computers and Windows 11 computers for free, and it's right here. So it does protect against viruses and malware and all kinds of threats from the internet, and it keeps the Windows firewall tuned up to keep you from getting blindly attacked from the outside and everything. So that's great news. So when Microsoft says, no, we're not going to do security updates, well, this Windows security program is a little bit different, and that will continue to keep your computer safe unless there's a giant exploit of a huge problem in the operating system. One important thing to know is that if you're running an aftermarket antivirus program such as McAfee or Norton or really any of the other ones and it's expired, your antivirus definitions are going to be way way out of date, maybe years out of date, because it's no longer downloading anything. So you're better off removing an expired antivirus program and letting the Windows security program automatically jump in and take over, because it still gets updates periodically from the Windows Update system. So make sure to check that if you're going to continue to run Windows 10. Another consideration if you decide to keep your old Windows 10 past the end of support date is that the application and software companies might choose to stop writing their new versions for the old unsupported Windows 10 operating system, which means eventually programs that you do use, like Google Chrome or maybe QuickBooks or Dropbox or something really important, all of a sudden might require you to have the new version running, yet when you try to install it, it says unsupported operating system. So that can be a concern, but usually in the first year or two, they have holdover support and things typically keep running, but that might not be the case. Option number 2 is to upgrade your computer to Windows 11 if it supports the minimum hardware requirements. You might have noticed in your Windows Update page this little area that says Get Ready for Windows 11, and if you click on the Check Hardware Requirements link, this page appears, and when you scroll down it talks all the techie details about what's required, but better yet, further up there's a PC Health Check app link that you can click on, and that pulls up this page. Next, click on the Download PC Health Check app, and you'll see in just a little bit it'll start downloading at the very top. Go ahead and click on that and run the Windows PC Health Check app program, and it'll begin to install. There we go. And here it is. So it's really simple. All you have to do to see if this computer can run Windows 11 is just click on the Check Now button. And it comes back with a green check mark, which is great. That means everything in the computer lines up. I am good to go. So if I click on See All Results, these are all the techie things it's looking for. And green check marks are great. I have green lights across the board. Now, the one thing that you won't find is a button that just says, click here to start your upgrade now. It's almost like they put it in line, and eventually at some unknown time in the future, it'll get it through Windows Update and it'll give you a prompt. Are you ready to upgrade now? And you click and the process begins. So I myself like to control when that kind of thing happens. So what you can do, I like to use the Google search engine, and I'm in Chrome here. So if you just put in upgrade to Windows 11 and search for that, you'll see one of the high up links is download Windows 11. So we'll click on that page there. And here it is, the Windows 11 Installation Assistant. Now this computer is running Windows 10, and then this is made to where we can download and install Windows 11. So you go ahead and click to download the program, and I'm not going to walk you all through that, but it's pretty easy if you just follow along. Go ahead and run that download file, and the Windows upgrade process will begin. I'll put links to these web pages in the video description below, so feel free to go check it out if you want to come back later and find direct hyperlinks right to the pages that I use in this video. Option 3 was to purchase extended security updates from Microsoft in a program that they really haven't released yet, and you can't sign up for it at the moment. As it approaches the October 14th, 2025 deadline date for the end of support, they'll be rolling it out, and I'm sure have an easy way for us to buy and purchase updates through that program. And it's been rumored that the purchase price will be $30 for home users, meaning non-business clients, and that's only going to be good for 1 year, but that will provide the security updates for that extra year and make you not vulnerable to attacks, just in case something really bad happens out in the Microsoft world with the hackers. And businesses, on the other hand, have another program that they can have extended updates for 3 years. Some businesses are tied to old hardware that really can't run on a different operating system, and there's a whole bunch of reasons why a business might want to keep their old computers, yet they have to still be secure and compliant or they'll get in trouble, and also they don't want to have security holes and get hacked and everything. So the business plan is rumored to be $61 for year 1, and the next year that one doubles to $122, and the third year that doubles to $244. So it's not cheap, but it does allow you to hang on to that old computer and that old hardware and remain compliant for a few years longer. But again, remember, the consumer home users only have 1 year at $30, to be announced later in the future. So keep your eyes out on Microsoft if that's something you're interested in. Also, like the name implies, these are just security updates. So if we scroll down here, you'll see limitations, meaning things that they're not going to include will be new features, non-security updates, design change requests, support. So basically just critical security problems that need to be fixed will be fixed if you're part of this program. Option 4 is to simply buy a new computer that comes preloaded with the Windows 11 operating system. You'll use that computer to replace your old one, and then you just copy your documents, pictures, files, and everything you have on the old computer to the new computer, and then load the applications and print drivers and everything else, and then you just move forward using the new computer and leave the old one behind. Now, the process of shopping for the new computer can be a little tricky because there are a lot of places that sell the computers. There's a lot of different models and processors and prices and sales. And I actually made a video a few years ago that walked people through the process. Now, it's a little bit old, but the concepts still remain valid. So over on YouTube, if we search for how to buy a computer, my video actually comes up as the #1 video underneath the sponsored ad, which is just mind-boggling. But it's a good video, but it is 3 years old. So a lot of the processors and models mentioned and the examples I used are older computers by today's standard, but you can still use the same tricks to buy a current model computer and do quite well with the tricks and tactics I use in there. One quick tip I'll share with you is when you go on these websites and search for desktop computers, for example, right here, Best Buy, 129, that's a lot. Office Depot, 412. I have a way I show in the video that I'll show you right now on how to just narrow that down to a practical number. So here on Office Depot, what you want to do is just click on the 4-store pickup. And notice that 412 now turned into 14. And then of those 14, you can do a sort by price, low to high, and then just skim through and look for the computer with the most power for the least amount of money or the budget that you're comfortable with. So why not get one that's on sale and get a $200 or $300 extra hardware upgrade without having to pay for it if that's out there. And same thing on Best Buy. So here we've got 129, and then at the top here, ready in an hour. So these are computers that are good enough to be in the store and people are buying them and they keep them on the shelf. So all that other stuff is just noise, stuff that people aren't buying. It's not worthy of being in the store. So that's a quick way to narrow down the list of computers to something you can actually get through. I like to buy nowadays like an Intel i5 or i7 processor for my clients with a 512 SSD and 16 gigabytes of memory if I can get it, because those are very good specs, more than what some of the lower end computers would have in them. Option number 5 for something you could do when Windows 10 reaches end of support is that you could move on to an alternative operating system such as Linux Mint. This right here is a Linux Mint virtual machine that I loaded up and made a video about it on my channel. You may want to take a look at it. But essentially I wanted to make this look and feel just like Windows as close as I could. So as you can see, we have a desktop, we have icons on the desktop, we have a start menu, and then if I open the equivalent of File Explorer, we have desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures. It's pretty much the same thing and works about the same way. So if you're up to the journey, you can try out an alternative like Linux Mint. And what you'll realize is a lot of the major program vendors have produced a Linux version of their software. Things that are common like Google Chrome and Dropbox, and like Microsoft Office is not going to have a version out for that, but there is a version of Office, I think it's called OpenOffice, and if we dig into the start menu here and click Office, LibreOffice, and that's totally free. You'll never get charged at all. So it looks and feels a little different than Microsoft Office, but essentially you can do the same thing. You can even open up those XLSX spreadsheets, those DocX files, which are Word documents, edit them, save them, and then send them out and email them away, and the people that are running Windows can still open them just the same. So if you're fed up with Windows and don't want to just toss out your computer because of this requirement Microsoft has put on Windows 11, old computers run operating systems like Linux very, very well. There's no need to take your computer and throw it on top of the trash heap mountain that's going to be created due to this new Windows 10 end of support and Windows 11 requirement. You could also decide to abandon Microsoft Windows and move over to Apple's line of computers. It's a different world over there, but people that go from Microsoft Windows to Apple and Mac tend not to go back to Windows once they've made the transition. So that has something to be said. And there are other things like Chromebooks and little gadgets and gizmos that have their own operating system. But if you're truly trying to make the break from Windows, there are good alternatives. Now, the Mac equipment and Apple devices are really expensive, but they're very high quality, and everything tends to work all the time. Where Windows can be a can of worms because they let so many hardware vendors make so many different pieces of hardware that something's bound to go wrong or not be compatible, and that's why you have a few more problems with the Microsoft PC equipment versus that which is made at Apple themselves. I hope I've answered all of your questions about what to expect when Windows 10 reaches end of support later in 2025 on October 14th. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. And as you'll see, I do write back to almost every single comment that I receive and try to provide expert tech support help and high-level replies back to answer your questions. And please check out my channel. It's at Jason Bagnell at YouTube. Here it is, and you'll see I have lots of videos out there on all kinds of different things, some of which have actually gotten lots and lots of views, and my audience is starting to grow and grow because people like you are appreciating people like me who make these walkthrough step-by-step informative videos. So please join me, hit subscribe, and give this video a like, and I really appreciate you being here, making it to the end, and I wish you all a great, awesome rest of your day, and good luck through the Windows transition later in the year. Take care.